Young Turks Elections 2014.
Welcome back. You're watching our Young Turks election special. Our next guest, Anurag Thakur, was a first-time MP in the 15th Lok Sabha from Hamirpur in Himachal Pradesh. Son of former Chief Minister of Himachal Pradesh Prem Kumar Dhumal, Anurag takes his role as MP seriously. He is credited with one of the highest attendance rates, participation in debates and questions asked in the 15th Lok Sabha. Anurag's focus areas, if he is re-elected, will be the 3 E's: education, employment and empowerment. Let's take a look. 39-year-old Anurag Thakur, a member of the Bharatiya Janata Party, is contesting from the Hamirpur constituency for the 3rd successive time. A graduate from Doaba College in Jalandhar, Anurag is being groomed and pitched as the youth face of the BJP and is presiding over his 2nd term as the head of the party's youth wing. He was also recognized earlier this year as a young global leader by the World Economic Forum. We caught up with this young leader as he kick-started his campaign. Anurag, appreciate you joining us on CNBC TV 18's Young Turks. Let me start by asking you about the so-called Modi wave that you talk about. You say that the Modi wave is much stronger than the Vajpayee wave. On what basis are you making that comment? And how is this election different? You've got 24/7 television channels, you've got social media. Parties like yours are being able to leverage the power of technology more effectively than others. How is this election different, and why do you make that comment about the Modi wave being stronger than the Vajpayee wave?
If you look at today's world, where media plays a very important role. Now with the social media coming in, we were apprehension that we'll see large crowds or no during the public meetings. But Mr. Modi has that charisma where we see large crowds coming in to hear to Mr. Modi. In Lucknow rally, we got more than 1.2 million people. In Bihar, we had more than 800,000 people coming to the rally, where we have more than 16 blasts. Despite that, they did not move out of the ground. They stayed back, listened to Modi. That clearly shows that the people want change in the government. They want a strong, decisive and a visionary leader. And I personally feel Mr. Modi, what he has performed in last 13 years in Gujarat is paying off today.
But Anurag, do you think that there is much more of a connect that the electorate is making with Mr. Modi? Because Narendra Modi is now raising issues of development. He's raising issues of the economy, of jobs, of aspirations. He's not talking about the RSS ideology. He's not talking about the Mandir. He's not talking about Hindutva. Do you believe that the BJP's change in public discourse is partly responsible for the kind of connect that the electorate is being able to make with Narendra Modi, specifically the youth?
Today we should talk about more good governance and development model. We should talk about bringing transparency and accountability into the politics. There should be a decisive government to take certain decisions which can bring back economy at 7 to 8%, which will help in creating more job opportunities.
But Anurag Thakur, is it then safe to assume that the BJP has cut the umbilical cord, so to speak, with the RSS ideology, or is that fiction? Because the ideological baggage weighs down the BJP often, it restricts the BJP often.
We are very much with our ideology, but ideology doesn't say that you don't do the good governance or development. We have created more than 62.5 million jobs, whereas in the UPA one, they have created only 2.7 million jobs. It clearly showcases that our focus during Vajpayee's tenure was also on the good governance and the development model.
Now, one of the areas where we've seen a lot of first-generation entrepreneurs flourish is the area of technology, in the area of e-commerce. The BJP's position has been anti-FDI in multi-brand retail and also, in a sense, anti-FDI in e-commerce, though there seems to have been a shift as far as Narendra Modi's statements are concerned. How do you then reconcile that with the objective of creating jobs, of unleashing entrepreneurial excellence?
FDI and retail won't help them. What will help them is to create India, or to make India a manufacturing hub, which will create more jobs in the manufacturing sector, also to help the service sector to flourish. FDI and retail will take away the self-employment what people have, the smaller traders have today. Let us first make India a manufacturing hub, then maybe after a few years we can think about it, but not as of now.
You know, as a young parliamentarian, Anurag, the emphasis is on providing opportunities to the youth. If it is a BJP government, what are the three ideas that you would like the government to address specifically from a youth perspective?
I personally feel that 3 E's are very important in new politics: education, employment and empowerment. That should be the benchmark for new politics. We should provide quality education to the youth of this country, because that is our youth, young force. We should give them enough opportunities or create enough jobs for them, employment for them, and they should be part and parcel of the decision-making process.
You've now made it to the list of young global leaders of the World Economic Forum. As a young global leader, take me through a few ideas that you would like a BJP-led government to implement as far as improving the climate for business, helping young entrepreneurs and first-generation entrepreneurs start up in India.
There should be single window clearances for various projects, and it is very important that the minimum time should be taken to start off a project. You know, people buy loan at a higher interest rate in India. When the project takes more than 2 years to take the necessary clearance, take the case of POSCO or many other big projects. They were pending for more than 8, 9 years. You know what impression we create. And look at the decision taken by the central government to tax Vodafone with the retrospective effect. You know, that has created a perception outside India whether investing in India is safe or not. We need to give this impression that please come, India should be the favored destination.
Anurag, I want to ask you this. You know, the BJP has often accused the Congress party of playing the politics of dynasty, but it's pretty much the same across all parties, including yours. Your father was former Chief Minister, former Finance Minister Yashwant Sinha of the BJP. His son is making his political debut from his father's constituency, Hazaribagh, this time around. And, you know, Poonam Mahajan in Bombay. It's a long list. Is politics in India going to continue to be the preserve of the sons and daughters of politicians?
See, the parties ruled by single family is Congress, Samajwadi Party, BSP, AIDMK, TMC, not BJP. You know,
But how is the BJP any different, Anurag Thakur? I've given you several examples already of how we've actually seen a generational change from father to son, from father to daughter, even within the BJP. How's the BJP any different?
Let me come back on this, Shireen. I mean, look at the BJP president. It was Mr. Nitin Gadkari before this. Now Rajnath Singh ji. Before that, we have a different president. Every 3 years, our organizational setup changes. Whereas in Congress, it is the Gandhi family who rules. Here it's not run by one party, one family. We have a different organizational setup.
You know, critical issue, Anurag, is balancing the needs of the ecology with development, especially in states like yours, in states like Uttarakhand, where some have said that because of the rampant development, the careless development that has taken place, the ecology and the environment has taken a huge knock. How do you balance that with your objective of trying to create job opportunities for people within the state, trying to avoid migration out of the state, trying to attract industry and investment into the state?
We've always in favor of a Himalayan State Development Authority where Jammu, Kashmir, Himachal, Uttarakhand and the northeastern states should come under that, and the problems of these areas should be looked into. And this will help to keep a check on the migration problem as well. If we create employment in those areas with the tourism or to help the ecology, payment for ecosystem to preserve the forest, and to get the tourism-based industry in those areas, Hydel project which will save the environment and will create more jobs in those areas, tourism, education-based industry. At the same time, I think if a small country like England can get a lot of tourists, Bangkok can get a lot of tourists, why can't a state like Himachal, Uttarakhand and Jammu Kashmir?
Anurag Thakur, you know, we're seeing a generational shift in political parties today. Are we likely to see young MPs like you saying, let's rise above party lines, let's arrive at bipartisan support as far as issues of national importance are concerned? Do you believe that we will perhaps see a much more productive environment in politics if we do have younger MPs like you?
If you remember, in 2010, there was a stone pelting incidents happened in Jammu and Kashmir where the armed forces, you know, were were harassed, even they were injured during those stone pelting thing. I was the first person to go to every member of parliament, young MPs, to get a petition signed and send us and request the Kashmiri youth to stop the stone pelting. The next thing we did was to start a project on this malnutrition program, where from people from across political parties, Sachin Pilot, Supriya Sule, Shahnawaz Hussain, and many others came on the same platform, and we came out with this Hangama report where we have involved Amir Khan as our brand ambassador. We have requested the Prime Minister to release that and to sanction some funds on that. In the coming 16th Lok Sabha, I'll assure you that we'll take up the issues of national importance, and people, MPs from various political parties will get together on a similar platform to do well for the country and try and come out with some solution as far as issues of national importance are concerned.
Well, Anurag Thakur, it's been a pleasure speaking with you. Let's hope that the atmosphere in Parliament is less vitiated than it was in the 15th Lok Sabha. Here's wishing you the very best of luck for the elections.
Thank you.
On that note, here's a quick roundup of all the other news from the world of entrepreneurship. While Apple and Samsung are busy topping each other's features, an 11-year-old Chinese handset brand Xiaomi announced the launch of the world's slimmest smartphone this week in India. Here's all the action from Goa, where the phone was launched. Take a look. One of the biggest markets for smartphones globally, it was no surprise that the Chinese brand Xiaomi picked India as the second launch market after China.
A potential super hit on your hands, don't you?
Having already sold 1 million handsets in the Indian market in its first year, Xiaomi has priced this new handset, eLife S 5.5, the world's slimmest phone, at 23,000 rupees. Young Turks caught up with William Lu Weibing, president of Xiaomi, who tells us how he intends to capture a price-sensitive market like India.
Most of India consumers, they don't get quality products, good user experience products with good price. So I see a very big gap there. That's why Xiaomi entered India and position us between international brands and local brands.
If you're interested in the eLife, it is going to be available in stores starting the 27th of April. That's it then on this Young Turk special. Next week, meet cricketer Mohammad Kaif, who's fighting on a Congress ticket from Allahabad's Phulpur constituency, and former investment banker turned Aam Aadmi Party leader Satish Jain, who's contesting from North Mumbai. Write in to us with your suggestions and your feedback to youngturks@network18online.com. Join us on Facebook and Twitter. Our Twitter handle is @ShireenByT. Till next week, from everyone here on the team, goodbye and many thanks for watching.
Young Turks Elections 2014.